just so you know guys that cooking adobo has many variants. Like you can cook your adobo and add potato, and you can also cook your adobo with vegetables such as the string bean. So it's all up to you guys. It is your experiment. Remember that. So this is how I prepare my adobo, and this is pork adobo. And so I've already cut my belly of pork and into cubes, and I'm going to add this bay leaf. And this bay leaf usually gives this aroma. There you go. You can put as much as you want. I don't think that it does really matter, but you know, you don't want too much too because it might be too bay leafy smell. So that's how you call it. And I am going to place my chopped garlic. Here you go. And I'm going to add also my black pepper. This is the whole black pepper, but I'm going to grind it myself. If you have the coarse ground black pepper, then go ahead, you can use that. Parang mas masarap lang siya kapag yung fresh ba, tapos ikaw na gusto yung mag-grind ng black pepper. Ganun lang. So, like I always say, I have issues with black pepper because I love black pepper. So, if you are the type of person who doesn't want much of black pepper, then don't put too much of it. There you go. Okay. And then, I'm so glad that Kirklad was able to come up with this because I used to use a small grinder like this one here. Now I am going to add my vinegar, my sukam iloko. And I like to use that because it has this distinctive taste of that kind of sour thing. And I'm just going to finish my old vinegar. I just bought that yesterday because I know that I was running out of it. So I'm going to add this one scoop. I can smell it. There we go. So I am going to mix this one. Usually I like to keep this here first for about 10 minutes. Kind of like marinate it. And by the way guys, again, this pork is about 2.3 pounds or about 1 kilogram of pork belly. Oh my gosh, I love that smell. There we go. So I'm gonna do this first for about 10 minutes, and I should be ready to turn on my fire and make my pork or my meat brown. To brown my meat. Is it the proper term? Oh my goodness. I should have listened when we had our, you know, like home economics class. Maybe I could have picked up more terms, better terms, or proper terms in cooking. So I'm gonna come back in about 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes after, now I am here. I just turned on my stove to high fire, and it doesn't really matter how fast you want to brown your meat, but the main purpose of this is to make sure that you brown your meat before adding water and the rest of the ingredients. And for me, I always like to brown my meat because I feel like you're kind of like killing the whatever the meat has, like the bacteria or whatsoever. whatsoever. So I always want to do that. And you know, adobo is so popular here in the United States, although a lot of people are more familiar with the chicken adobo. And some people, I think, have already tasted the pork and chicken adobo. And for some reason, for me, I don't usually combine those because the chicken has this distinctive smell and taste. And that's why when I cook my chicken adobo, rarely, trust me, rarely, I always add a lot of spices, and one of those is actually the ginger. So one of my colleagues actually said that she would love to learn how to learn, she would love to learn, ano ba yan, nabubulol pa ako? She would love to learn how to properly cook a Filipino adobo because she has tried it, and I asked her what were the ingredients that she used and what soy sauce, and she told me that it was just a regular soy sauce. But guys, this is the secret here, okay? When you say Filipino adobo, it means that you have to use the Filipino spices such as, you know, like the vinegar, the soy sauce, and I usually use 2 types of vinegar. You can use just the white vinegar, just make sure that it's a Filipino brand. And then, but for me, I like using 2 kinds. And I am going to stir this. Oh my goodness, I can already smell that vinegar taste, that vinegar flavor. Garlic, you can throw in as much as you want of that garlic. It really depends on your taste. Again, cooking is not being perfect. It doesn't really have to have measurements. It has to, you know, follow what your taste bud like is. Of course, we don't recommend our food to be too salty because, you know, it's gonna ruin our kidneys. It can, you know, increase our risk to hypertension and all those other health problems. Anything that is extreme, of course, is not good, right? And I also like using the pork belly because it has this fat in the meat. And an adobo that does not have fat in it, for me, it's not really adobo. There you go. I remember when I was still studying for my master's, I was so busy that I would usually buy our food outside. And one day my son told me that, Mom, the adobo that you got or the other foods that you've been buying from outside have been okay, but your cooking is still different. It always has this kick. So, you know what? I felt so bad at the time because I know that some way or another I have quite neglected my children. My children are already adults, okay? Don't get me wrong. But for me, they're still my babies. And I still want and I still love to cook for them. Even just their breakfast, I still make sure that it is good, that they're gonna like it. I don't know. For me, really, cooking is an expression of love. So I'm gonna stir it again. Anyway, I keep on talking. Alam mo naman, madagdag. Si Kira, yung Mama Kay. So I can see that it's almost brown. You can see it too, guys. Yep. And then now, I am ready to add my soy sauce. Again, we're not supposed to add any water yet at this point. So I'm going to use the soy sauce. Again, always use a Filipino brand soy sauce. I feel like the other brands of soy sauce, they're too salty. There you go. So I'm just adding 1. And then I am going to add 1 more vinegar of this sukang Ilocano. Yes, guys, I'm an Ilocana, but I am also a Waray. And when we were younger, we also stayed in Manila. I was born in Manila, in Mandaluyong. And then we lived in Lobang City, Ilocos Norte, where I grew up where I stayed most of my, my teenage life and growing up actually. What am I saying? Nabubulol na talaga ako. But yes, I grew up in Ilocos Norte. I stayed there most of my time before coming here to the United States, particularly here in California. And I also stayed in Tacloban City, Leyte, for quite a few years when I was younger, when my biological mother was still alive. And then I visited Tacloban City, from time to time. And also I went there for a year of civil engineering, and it was such a great experience actually. And then I went back there, like when I was about 20 or 21, when my children wanted to. Because that's the time when we run away. Yep, we run away. And if I didn't run away, probably I and my children, oh my gosh, nabubulol talaga ako. If we didn't run away at that time, maybe we wouldn't be in this position, or we wouldn't have this kind of life. It was my choice. Ay nako, hindi ko na sasabihin ang aking buhay kasi madrama. Para po talaga siyang pang MMK o kaya magpakailanman. I'm serious, guys. So I'm just gonna wait till the meat will absorb, or the sauce is going to or you know, this mixture, the soup base is going to evaporate. If you will notice, the meat is going to turn more brown or browner. Yung next one, browner, brownest. Yan. Okay. So from time to time, you just have to stir your pork so that it will be evenly browned. Ginawa ko ng verb yung brown. Grabe ha. May sarili na pala akong dictionary, English words. Ayan mga guys, dito ko ngayon ipapakita kung paano ang mag-brown. Paano siya nagiging brown. Ayan. You know what? I also like the vinegar of takuban, of lengke. Pero I've never really used that yet. For some reason, parang mas popular yata yung ano ilong ko. Pero mas nagpusaw-sawa din na kasi yung yata yung ginagamit nila. I have great memories in Tacloban City. I have gained great friends who I still communicate with from time to time. Pero may gusto pa akong mga hanapin ng mga friends ko yun, lalo na nung elementary ako. Tapos nalala ko when I was like, I think I was in my 3rd grade or 2nd grade. You know, uso pa noon yung nagpakolect ng stationaries. And then, nakipag-exchange sa akin yung classmate kong yun. I can still remember her name, I promise, but I just can't remember her last name. But she borrowed my, you know, like my stack of stationaries. And then she never returned my stationaries. And I felt so bad. And then, you know, we already left. And then, you know, all has been forgotten, of course. Eh, wala namang Facebook nun, ano? O kaya wala namang email pa nun. Well, anyway, as you can see, guys, now it's becoming drier. Sarap, sarap. Yeah, and you can see it's becoming darker. My pork. Oh, it smells good. Oh my gosh. So the truth is that if you guys can only smell this one, you probably say that, oh my gosh, it's so ready to eat, but actually it's not. So I turned my fire to medium fire for now, and then I'm going to add my fine black pepper. Again, guys, if you are the type of person who doesn't really like too much black pepper, then don't add too much of it. And stir it. And as you can see, guys, it's already dry. So I am ready to add more vinegar. Okay, so with this about 1 kilogram or 1 pound of meat or pork, I'm going to, my ratio is going to be always 1:1, except for the very first one, the very first vinegar that I actually marinated the pork with. So this is 1. Just use your scoop or whatever you're using to cook it, to cook your adobo. And 2. So I kind of like let overflow it intentionally. Like I said, there's no perfect measurements. If you're cooking with me, it is all about your taste. So 1 and 2. I'm gonna add water, and I'm just gonna let this boil. I will add another 1 Ilocano vinegar. Just a little bit. Don't worry guys, because it's still not gonna be too sour. And you can turn your fire, high fire, to high fire. somebody telling me that the original adobo only has the vinegar, but the person who said that to me is actually not an Ilocana or Maray, not even Tagalog. So as you can see, it's now boiling. I'm just gonna add a little bit more of vinegar. Ilocano vinegar. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. And pork usually becomes tender even if you don't cook it for too long. Ay, tama ba yung sinabi ko? Di ba yan? Basta, the pork is easy to cook. Ganun na lang yun. As you can hear in my background, guys, other than this vent here, is actually, I'm watching a movie, a Filipino movie in my other phone. I just like to watch movie while I am cooking. And now it's actually boiling, and now I am going to add my water. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sneeze. I can smell the black pepper. And with pork, you can actually make this tender, or the pork will become tender in about 45 minutes to an hour. It really depends. And just make sure that when you cook your pork, it has to be in the medium to low fire. And some people want it to want the pork adobo be cooked in by using a pressure cooker. But then again, for me, pressure cooker is the faster way, yes, and it does really make your meat tender. However, it won't give you that process that would allow your meat to absorb the true flavor of what you are actually cooking. And that is one of my little secrets, I should say, that when I cook, I take time to cook whatever dishes that I make. And not that I don't like the pressure cooker, or maybe I have a little bit of trauma to that, because at some point it almost blew. I forgot that full detail, but then from then on I always get that anxiety if I use the pressure cooker. But it's been a while since I last used it, and I don't even remember when it was the last time. But for me, I always like the longer process, because it allows that meat to absorb that flavor, in which makes big difference to the other adobos or whatever dishes that I make with being cooked by other people. And so well, really, it's up to you. But if you really want your cooking to be different from the rest, then you should be a little bit more patient when you're cooking. And just consider it as an act of love. Like I always say, cooking is an expression of love. And if you put love into it, you'll never go wrong. So just call it love recipe. And this is what I love to do. I love cooking for my kids, for my husband, for my friends, for my family, of course. So there you go. Now it is actually boiling. I am ready to cover it. And I am going to turn down my fire to medium-low fire. And I will wait for about 45 minutes. But take note, guys, okay? In between, in about every 10 or 15 minutes, don't forget to stir your pork so that it will evenly absorb the flavor. Okay? My goodness, it is so hard to actually do a vlog or, do a cooking show. I didn't realize that, especially for me, who doesn't really have that knowledge of all those terms that the chef uses, So, yun na. I'll see you guys later in about 45 minutes. Just so you know, guys, that cooking adobo has many variants. Like you can cook your adobo and add potato, and you can also cook your adobo with vegetables such as the string bean. So it's all up to you guys. It is your experiment. Remember that. And you can also add in, throw in your onions. You want to do that? Go ahead. Please feel free to do so. So yeah. That's how it is.